Hello and welcome to the Covert Nerd Podcast. Today we're going to talk about why local cons rock, and then we'll review the indie writer Carl D. Smith, who shows you exactly how the sausage is made when producing books and comic books. So let's dive right in and nerd it out. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate the time that you give me. I hope I can make it worth your time and give you some value. First, we're going to do a con debriefing. I went to the local Okamacon here in Omaha, Nebraska, and it's a small, nerdy con, and I think small cons are the best. Everyone is nice. Everyone is helpful. I had the honor and privilege to be on a panel with two other local podcasters, Amber and Ben. We talked about the basics on how to start a podcast, and the panel was well attended. The people asked lots of questions, and during the panel and after the panel, when I first arrived, I was shocked and surprised and even asked the people that were there if they were here for this podcasting panel or were they in the wrong room. I told Amber earlier in that day that I would be happy if 3 or 4 people showed up. To my surprise, almost 40 people attended. To say I was in shock was an understatement. It gave me the energy I needed, and I wasn't nervous like I thought I might be, and no one left in the middle of the panel. So victory number 1 of Okamacon. I also got to meet our local podfather, Eddie, of the Podcast Arcade, and the rest of the members of the group, who are the most wonderful people you will ever meet. They're helpful, and they're not trying to compete for your audience. They just want to help you get started and be a successful podcaster. The podcasting community, for the most part, is like that, and I have a feeling most communities are like that as well. At least in the podcasting community, like I said, they're not trying to steal, air quotes, your audience. We all want more listeners, but we know there are plenty of listeners to go around. They even let me record a session on the Make Eternia Great Again podcast with Jeff. Side note, Jeff and I hit it off. We both have big families. We both homeschool our kids. And at the con, Jeff and I sat down and recorded a quick bit together. So victory number 2 for the con. For the first time in my life, I took time to sit down and play Dungeons & Dragons. Like I said in a previous episode, I've never played D&D. I've always wanted to, but never took the time to play. Thankfully, I had a patient DM at Okamacon who took the time to try to explain to me the many nuances of the game. Me and my 3 other members of the crew made up an adventurous group and took on 2 small campaigns. Most of us were very green, but we seized the day, and with minimal damage, we succeeded. I think the DM took it easy on us, though, since we were all new. All in all, though, it was fun. I like the fact that D&D has large campaigns that are broken down into small 1-hour adventures. This allows the casual player to play a quick adventure and easily come back and finish the campaign. I'll plan on playing again soon, so victory number 3 for the con. I was also able to chat with several creators in the vendor area of the Comic-Con. There's so many. Jesse of Tank Zombie Studios and the guys of Omaha Underground who indulged my questions and comments. Russell Noeldi, who is passionate about helping other creators sell the things that they create. Kaylin Smith, who is insightful and delves out encouragement to all those who talk with her. Wesley Sun of Sun Brothers Studios is one of the nicest people you will ever meet. He's the type of guy that will give you the shirt off his back if you need it. Lastly, and certainly not least, was Carl D. Smith. Now, I've known Carl since I came to college in 1992. We weren't best buds, but we hung out occasionally, and I appreciate his humor and for the love of all things nerdy. He knows anything and everything about nerdy stuff. Once he dives in, he will be the expert, whether it's D&D, whether it's Roman history, whatever. When he gets in deep, he gets in deep. Just ask him about music, and he'll tell you all about it. After college, our lives never really crossed paths much. We reconnected this weekend, and we both admitted we should have gotten together more since we live less than an hour away from each other. Just like most people, though, you get busy with jobs and kids and just the day-to-day life, and you forget to take time to connect with those who you used to know. Hopefully that will change. Carl's a good guy with some great talent. I recommend you check out his work and all the other creators' work that I just mentioned. I'll be sure to put links in the show notes for all the different creators that I talked to. Go and help them out. Final victory number 4 for Okamacon. I almost forgot to mention, though, I rode up with artist Lee Bachma. We got to chat on the way up and back about all things nerdy like retro comics, retro video games. I made a mistake, but it ended up being a good thing. I thought the con started at 11 in the morning. Actually, it was noon. We got there around 10:30, so we had about an hour and a half to waste. Since we were in Council Bluffs, I took him to Canesville Collectibles, which is something Carl told me about way back in 1992. It's an old store which sells old comics, old books, records, cassettes, movie posters, and other old stuff. The place is not organized well, and it's kind of a dump. So you have to dig for what you're looking for. If you do some digging, though, you can find, on a rare occasion, a few gems that you might be looking for, which for some is half the fun. I found a bunch of old comics for only 50 cents a piece, and Lee found an old movie poster and a few comics as well. I was worried that Lee might think this place is too dirty and unorganized, but he loved it and plans to come back again. What I thought would maybe be a bad situation, having to wait an hour and a half before getting into the con, ended up being a good thing. Eddie has mentioned after the con that you get energized. It's like summer camp. You don't want the new people and the new things that you saw to go away. Eventually, they do somewhat diminish, but the new friendships and experiences that are made keep on going. Yes, there's a bit of a dip, but the trend tends to move up because of the connections and experiences that are made. So you have this line that starts low and it might dip a little bit, but then it dips back, it goes back up, and just keep the overall trajectory is up. And that's why you and I go to these things, to connect with like-minded people and experience the new things, and most of all, to have fun. One thing I will do different next year is to bring one of my older kids. I think they could handle some of the grind because, let's face it, an all-day con, several-day con is a bit of a grind. They would have fun seeing all the nerdy stuff the con has to offer. After all, that's what cons are about, experiencing new nerdy things together. If you're a regular listener, you know I usually do a quick comic book review, and I will. However, since I found some new books at the con, I will be reviewing local artists and writers for the next few episodes. The first one, of course, is Carl D. Smith. I'm currently reading his Be Careful What You Wish for Argosy, which is a collection of all his released and unreleased work from the 2 issues of the series. It also includes a journal which documents what he was thinking and going through during the time he was putting out these books. Each comic has a page or two explaining how he came up with the story and the characters, and a little bit about the process of working with artists and dealing with printers, etc. You really get to see how the sausage is made with this collection of both his work and other artists' work. The next book of Carl's I got was The Horror of Loon Lake. This is a collection of short comics and short stories, all within the horror theme. Unlike Be Careful What You Wish For, The Horror of Loon Lake has almost no commentary. It's pretty much just all stories in written or comic book form, and it's a bunch of creators who got together and combined their works into one big trade paperback. In both cases, it's wonderful to see creators put out their work for the world to see, and also have someone explain how hard it is to take on such an endeavor. My hat's off to Carl and all the people that helped get their work published. I will include a link to his work. Please take a look at the books he's created. I only talked about 2, but he has more novels and comics as well. He's also coming out with a new RPG type game later this year. Plus, he also has a line of children's books too, called Draw Your Own Adventure. One thing I had reaffirmed at O-Comic-Con from the guys at the Podcast Arcade and talking to Russell Noelty, Kaylin Smith, Wesley Sun, and Carl Smith is just start. If you're on the fence about something you are hesitant to take on, just start. If you are a regular listener, you have heard me say this many times. In a tough world, though, I think we need to hear words of encouragement a lot more than we do. Perfect is the enemy of done. Even if it's a small step, at least take a step in the right direction. If you shoot for the moon and you miss, you'll still be in a much better place. Whatever you're thinking about starting, whether it's a book, a new business, whether it's a podcast, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you're not going to get any better until you start. If you need some encouragement, hit me up on social media. You can go to covertnerd.net. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, even on your Alexa. Go to covertnerd.net to find out all the different ways you can subscribe and listen. Thank you again very much for listening. I appreciate your time. And until next time, nerd it up.